Welcome to the program, guys. Thank you so much for being here. We got some applause for you.
Hail, Eddie Winters! Hail!
There it is, with the mighty Thor. By the way, it is an honor to have you guys on the program. I mean, you guys have been doing this for years now, and you've got it has been an incredible story, an incredible history here. And you guys are coming up to San Francisco to play a program tomorrow at the bottom of the hill. It is going to be exceptional. How is the road been treating you? I know you guys just played at the Viper Room last night. Tell me a little bit, how has it been going for you guys?
It was absolutely insane. I tell you, the crowd went berserk for the show, and people were jumping on the stage. I had to throw them back off and into the crowd, and the crowd was just a wonderful crowd. They were singing along with the songs, and we had the best time. It was jam-packed. They loved the movie Return of the Thunderhawk, the screening for that. It was just a great night. What can I say? And we're looking forward to coming up to San Francisco. We're playing Long Beach tonight, and San Francisco sounds like it's going to be incredible.
I look forward to it. I mean, you guys put on, one of the best rock shows around, most entertaining. You've been doing it for years, so that's no secret. But how do you guys stay focused? I mean, you've been doing this for literally years, and you're still going strong. How do you stay focused on entertaining the people and bringing it every night?
Well, you answered the question. It is the people. We get the energy from the crowd, and that keeps me going. No matter what age, I feel ageless. I feel immortal when I get on that stage, and the crowd is singing our songs. They're going wild, and we're having the best time together. I can speak for the musicians. They're playing their axes, they're tuning their weapons, and they're rocking out. And I'm just, swinging my hammer and my hammers, and
right.
And everything is just great, I can tell you.
So you joined. I mean, you got some of the musicians that are joining you on stage. Can we? Who do you got next year? Who's in the room right now?
My name's Jon Leibel. I'm Thor's lead guitar player.
Yeah, this is Ted Jedlicki. I'm the bassist here for Thor.
And Tom Croxton, I'm the drummer.
You guys are all you're on the battlefront. You're on the stage. What is it like watching Thor do his magic on stage? What is the responsibility of the group backing Mr. Thor?
Well, it's funny you should mention that. So we've been playing with Thor with this lineup, in addition to our rhythm guitar player Matt McNallie, who's not here for the interview, but he's doing all the gigs with us. Anyways, we actually just had a fun little scenario last night at the Viper Room. We do an intro and we start playing the first song, and Thor always comes through the crowd to get on stage. Well, the crowd was so enamored with him that they wouldn't let him on stage right away. So we had to keep playing and playing and playing, until he could finally break free from his fans, just so we could get the show started.
The lightning struck a lot.
Responsibility, though. I mean, we know how much the fans love Thor, and we want to make sure that we give them the best show that is possible, and a show that they're going to remember for the rest of their lives.
That's what a lot of fans have been talking about for years now, is that when they go to Thor to see the band live, it is a life experience for them. It changes their lives. And I don't know if that's part nostalgia, part legend, but I mean, there is, dare I call it, I mean, Thor is he's like the metal Elvis Presley or something. It's like he comes out and it's just a spectacle to see and witness. What is it like being in the eye of that hurricane every night? Does it wear on you?
I say I welcome it. I feel recharged every night. Whether it's some of the beautiful women that come up and they say they love the show, and you sign some autographs, or whether it's the warriors out there, the guys who come up there, their comrades, and they say they've loved the show. They train to the music, they work out, and they said the biggest thing is everybody, if they come up and they say, wow, we were life inspired by your music. That means life inspired. Some people who had surgeries said they listened to the music and they came back strong again, or it changed their life. They were sort of down and out, and they listened to the music and they got positive feelings. Those things mean a lot to me. They really do.
As far as being in the backing band and watching all that great interaction with the crowd, I like to think that we have the funnest job in the world. We rehearse on a regular basis when Thor, obviously since Thor lives up in Canada, we're all in Minnesota. So we rehearse at home, and we have a pretty consistent lineup. We've been playing with the same guys, so we know that we have a job to do to make sure that everything runs smoothly. And we've gotten pretty used to, all the chaos that can happen on stage. And, like I said before, man, it's the funnest job in the world,
Right.
When you play in a band with the son of Odin, you got to bring your A game.
You really do. Have you ever had any kind of, mishaps here on stage where, something goes awry and it becomes a part of the show that you didn't expect?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'll let Tom take this one.
So my drum kit is a 12-piece drum kit, right?
Wow.
Neil Peart. And I come to shows, we do a lot of our touring on flight. So I show up, like Denver was one. It was a 4-piece drum kit with a single pedal, and I panicked. Like, how am I going to do this? Last night, same deal, 4-piece drum kit, but fortunately they found a double pedal. So yeah, that's scary.
Now I've got some notes here about you guys have been doing some re-releasing and releasing on Cleopatra Records for some of the old back catalog, and I just read that the Electric Eyes album, that was a lost album from 1979, has just come out, and I gotta know, because you've got a huge backlog. What's the story behind this record? Why did this record not come out until just recently?
Well, we recorded it as a follow-up to Keep the Dogs Away in 1979. We went to Mushroom Studios, where Heart recorded their first album. BTO recorded there. Even Led Zeppelin is said to have stopped there and recorded some cuts there. So it's a very legendary place to record. We went in there in 1979, and we felt, we didn't want to do the same album as Keep the Dogs Away. So we just kind of made more of an organic and raw album, that had a lot of melodic tunes on it and heavy riffs. And the music was changing for us, too. So we're kind of in between the glam pop and heavy metal. And we presented it to the label, and they just felt it wasn't as produced as Keep the Dogs Away, and they shelved the album in 1979. And thanks to the foresight, insight of Cleopatra Records, who are just a wonderful label, and the packaging they do is just amazing. They decided in the year 2018, quite a few years later,
Right.
what is that, 40 years later? They decided to take it off the shelf, and because it was discovered recently in my basement, right?
Wow.
So it's a lost treasure. It could have been destroyed over the years, the master, right? So we're very fortunate that people in this timeline were able to hear it, and we're getting some great and positive reviews on it. It's quite amazing.
I've listened to pretty much a majority of the record, and I would say that most bands in 2018 are striving for that sound that you guys got in 1979. And it's I think it sounds great, and there's even a cover of Wild Thing on that on the record. That blows me away. I love it. I think I wish you the best with that record.
Thank you very much, and I love the Trogs. They were one of my favorite bands from the British Invasion.
Right.
And back in 1979, we had the tube sound, right? It was tube. It was analog, right? And not digital, right? So the old tapes, you have a little bit of a different sound to it, a warmer sound maybe, and so it seems to be going over. Yeah, try to get that. People are trying to get that kind of sound
Exactly.
again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, now I've got to ask. There is I saw online. There's a documentary that about your life, about the story of Thor, about the band. You know, what is it like having playing shows, and there's a documentary about your life sitting there on the internet for people to watch? Is that kind of crazy for you?
Well, this is quite amazing because Netflix has just exploded. I think they never expected to have 5 million subscribers in what was it in a year that had it. It just Netflix is the big thing, right? Blockbuster's out, Netflix is in, and they're doing all kinds of incredible movies themselves. So being on Netflix has totally changed us from going to from being an underground band. We're starting to kind of tip the iceberg of the mainstream right now. Many of the young fans who came last night to the show at the Viper Room in Hollywood saw the movie on Netflix. So it's quite amazing the impact the documentary is having, and it won quite a few awards, and that's why we screened the follow-up, The Return of the Thunderhawk.
Tell me a little bit about that, The Return of the Thunderhawk. What is that for listeners that don't know?
Well, you know, Return of the Thunderhawk is like what happened after I Am Thor. We went on a tour to promote I Am Thor, and so there's some highlights of that, and then joining up with the guys who are in this room right now, and the journey over to Europe to hit festivals in front of 15,000 people. You know, so there's a lot of just interesting elements in there that are fun and surprise twist ending. You know, it's not just about I Am Thor, it's about We Are Thor.
Right.
And it's about, you know, love is mightier than the hammer.
You know, I've got to ask you because I would be worried if they were going to make a movie about my life. You know, that I would look vulnerable or I would, you know, kind of be exposed. You know, in this film, it gets very personal, and you know, and I feel like there was a moment where they kind of painted you as this band leader with different guys kind of coming and going out of the band. Now, this is for the band. Was that representation? Is it accurate? How do you guys feel about that representation in the documentary?
Well, you know, so it was interesting when, you know, when I saw that, you know, I saw the people coming and going. So when I got the opportunity to put together a backing band for them, you know, I wasn't sure if it was just going to be a one-time deal or if he would take me along for the ride and really, you know, let us be this solid, consistent backing band for him now. And it's just been amazing. We did a full-length album, Beyond the Pain Barrier,
right?
That we put out just last year on Cleopatra Records. We, you know, like John said, we did all kinds of touring, up, you know, in America, over in Europe, in Canada, and it's been the same guys. So, you know, I think that really speaks to, you know, the fact that Thor really cares about consistency. He wants to bring that same level to each show.
It goes back to giving the fans the best show possible, and having this consistent lineup really lets us get tight and lets us put on that best show. And it's great, and the response from the crowd too is, you know, we've had multiple people on this tour that go, wow, this lineup is tighter than I've ever seen. You guys are just great, and it's very humbling to hear that because I mean, there's been some amazing musicians that have played before us.
Speaking of amazing musicians, Thor is been around. You guys have played all over the world. Have you played with other contemporary groups? You know, maybe you were a little, you know, approached by some of these bigger bands, and they give you that admiration and that kind of, you know, give you a thumbs up on what you're doing.
Oh, yeah. Well, Avenged Sevenfold, so they are very inspired by Thor.
Right.
You know, so, you know, really fun story, when we played the Porisphere in Helsinki, Pori, Finland,
Right.
Helsinki, Testament, thrash metal legends,
Right.
Testament, played the festival we did, and we got a chance to meet the guys, and they were very cool, and they were impressed. It was awesome. Talk about high honors. You know.
Right. Jon, did you ever think when you were doing all of this stuff in the in the 70s when you started out in getting this thing going, building the Thor name, did you ever think that you were laying the groundwork for a career 40 years later?
No, I didn't. Not at all. I actually thought I was going to be in it for 5 years and then do something else in life. So I never had the thought that it was going to continue for 40 years. But then look at McCartney. He's like in his 70s. He's still playing. Springsteen is in his late 60s. He's still playing. I mean, these are the big guys, right?
Right.
So there's out there. There's many others who are in their 70s who are touring. So being at my age right now, which is ageless, but no,
Right.
but I'll just say in my 60s, right? I'm in my 60s, but the new 64 is the new 44.
Right.
That's kind of like how, if you look after yourself like I did over the years and trained and exercised, I feel great right now. I feel better than I ever have.
Well, you mentioned a name, Springsteen, and I was blown away to find out that you actually have a Springsteen connection through his old manager, Mike Appel. And I got to know, because Mike Appel, throughout rock history, kind of is an eccentric person, and you had a relationship with him for a brief time. Can you give me any insights on what it was like to work with Mike Appel back in those early days?
Well, I don't know if you know the story about Mike Appel and Springsteen, where he co-wrote and produced "Born to Run," one of the greatest classics in rock history.
Of course.
But then there was friction between Springsteen and Appel Appel held his career up because Springsteen wanted to go with Landau, who's
Right.
writer for the Rolling Stone. He held his career up for 2 years till there was a major settlement with Columbia Records. But so he was when he was managing me, he was an eccentric, and he would get messages from. He was very into the occult, Seth, and Seth would give him messages how to manage me. So I eventually, I wanted to just kind of understand the whole thing. And am I talking to Mike Appel or am I talking to Seth? I didn't know it was in the spirit world or the real world. So,
Jeez.
very eccentric guy. Yeah.
Did you have to bring like a Ouija board to your meetings and stuff? How did you do that?
Yes, that's true though. It was like that. Seances and Ouija board.
I'd never heard that. I mean, in all the Springsteen books and all that, they never mentioned that. At what point was this post the Springsteen lawsuit that you were working with him? Was this kind of hanging over his head in a sense, or was it part of his reputation at that point?
It was post Springsteen. They already made the settlement, and he was looking for the new artist, and I guess he felt I was going to be, a combination of Springsteen and Kiss, maybe. I don't know. And he was interested in managing me, and we were going to do some pretty big shows we had planned. But Seth told him this and Seth told him that, and it started getting a little crazy. So and weird, but you'd have to understand the mind of Appel.
I'm trying. That's you got me stumped. Well, you know what? I want to thank you guys for joining us and being on the line here together. You're going to be you're going to be coming up to the San Francisco area. Of course, you're in Long Beach tonight. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah.
And you're going to be doing the drive up to the North Bay and doing the bottom of the hill Sunday night. What can fans expect? Are you bringing anything different on this leg of shows? How do you put the set list together? How do you get prepared to do a show like this?
We contact Seth.
Yeah. You know the answers from Seth. Yeah, Seth knows.
Oh boy! So you might not show up. Is that
But no, we promise it'll be a show the audience will never forget. we always try to give the best show we can. There'll be a lot of costume changes and high energy music and sing-alongs and fist pumping and just all out mayhem and fun.
The crowd may or may not have to sign a waiver for any possible neck damage that will ensue the following day.
All the classic hits and some deep stuff. And again, we mentioned the Electric Eyes album. We'll probably play something off that and play some songs off the Beyond the Pain Barrier albums. And we're going to try and get something from every era.
That's great. You know what? I want to tell you guys are fabulous. You're doing God's work. You're going out there, slugging it out there, keeping this thing alive and keeping it growing and growing. I just want to say I wish the best to you guys this year and the years to come. You know what? It is looking like Thor is back on top.
Thank you very much, and we really look forward. We hope to see you soon up in San Francisco. You're coming to the show, right?
Absolutely, baby. I'll be there with my cloak on. I can't wait.
All right.
Well, hey, leave set that home, will you?
You got it. Well, thank you, guys. And again, all the best in 2018. And I will bring my hammer. Hopefully, they'll let me bring my hammer into the club. But if not, I will be there front and center, baby.
Sounds wonderful. We look forward to it.
All right. Thank you so much, Thor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You got it.